Hi there, I'm Adrian. Welcome to another video in this series about SQL basics. This is the final video about subqueries in our series. This time we are going to learn about subqueries in the select clause. Without further ado, let's get started. We're going to work with the same two tables that we used in the previous video, supplier and product. Let's do a quick recap. Suppliers from the table supplier provide products listed in the table product. The supplier table has only two columns, ID and name. For instance, the supplier with ID 4 is named Amazing Stuff. Let's now take a look at table product. It has 5 columns, ID, supplier ID, category, name and price. For example, there is a product with ID 1 provided by the supplier with ID 1. The category is food, product name is olive oil and the price is $5.89. Alright, let's discuss the following problem. We want to show each supplier's name along with the average product price for that supplier. This problem can be solved in a few ways, and I'm going to show you how you can do that with a subquery in the select clause. We'll start with a very simple query, which selects the name for each supplier. Nothing surprising so far. Now, we want to add a second column with the average product price. After a comma in the select clause, we add a pair of parentheses. Inside the parentheses, we provide the following subquery. Select average price from product where supplier ID equals supplier.id. The supplier.id column refers to the outer query, so this is a correlated query. And that's it. If we now run the query, we'll find the average product price for each supplier. We did that with a subquery in the select clause. It is very important to remember that a subquery in the select clause must return exactly one row with exactly one column. If it returns more than that, you'll get an error and the query won't work. For this reason, this sort of subquery frequently uses an aggregate function, such as average or sum, because such a function aggregates the rows and returns exactly one value. Let's take a look at another example. Now, instead of the average function, we use the count function. Note that we now count two metrics with two different subqueries. The first subquery counts the number of products provided by the supplier in general. This subquery is very similar to the previous one, where we used the average function. In turn, the second subquery counts the number of products from the food category by adding another condition in the where clause. Note that both metrics are provided as subqueries in the select clause and both are calculated independently. As I mentioned earlier, this sort of problem can also be solved in other ways. Instead of a subquery in the select clause, you could use a join. Today, however, we wanted to show you another possibility, so that you gain a wider range of options to choose from, depending on the situation. And that's all for today. This was the last video about subqueries. You should now know how to write many types of them and how to use them in practice. Remember to click the subscribe button and let's learn SQL together.